All right guys, welcome to the back nine out here at Brewster Ridge as I'm getting some prep in for the World Championships. Hole 10 is a 475-foot par 3. You got downhill, and you got a tunnel shot. I'm gonna go with a couple trusts. It plays about 400, I would say, max. This hole is more about hitting your angle and hitting your line and letting your disc do the work, carrying yourself down the hill towards the basket. So let's see if I can't throw a couple good shots here. Like I said, it's all about hitting the right line. If you turn it too much or hyzer too much, it's gonna affect your line, but also your distance. So let's hit a good one here. A little bit too far left. A little bit hyzered. See, as you can tell, this hole is easy to hyzer out or turn. So yeah, you really just gotta commit to the disc and the line. That's the most important part. A little better, still gonna hyzer out a little bit, but yeah, dang, maybe I'll try an Explorer. I'm gonna try an Explorer, just throw it lower. Try to throw it lower, maybe to the ground. There we go, that's better. So I like that. That was just a low line drive with a driver. So I might change up my play a little bit. This one's gonna be probably similar play. Yeah, pretty much the exact same shot. So I kind of like that play better. I feel like that's gonna be a little bit better. Obviously the mid-ranges didn't work out. So I'm just throwing the driver a little bit lower because it's gonna be getting down there a little faster. If I have it high, it's gonna glide way past the basket. But if it's lower, I'm running into the grass and stopping quicker. So I think it's gonna be the Explorer instead of the mid-range on this hole. So Fern, my tour manager, told me to put Explorers in the bag a while ago and I was too stubborn to listen to him. But as you can see, that's why I should have had these Explorers in the bag a long time ago. So yeah, both these Explorers ended up being right by the basket, inside almost inside bullseye for both of them. So that's gonna be my play. Throwing a low line drive with the driver. I just feel like it's gonna get down here real fast, whereas the mid-range is kind of in the air for a long time and a lot of stuff can happen. Just throw a nice line drive with the driver and give myself a chance for that birdie. All right, hole 11, 620-foot par 4 downhill again. As you can see, a lot of these holes are either up or downhill, and I'm gonna be throwing forehand. I'm gonna throw a forehand down the gap and fade to the right-hand side of the fairway. I'm not really trying to hit the fairway, I'm trying to actually go right, just because that's the most open spot. And I'm gonna try a couple backhands as well and see where that puts me. All right, I'm gonna start off with an Explorer. I'm just gonna throw an Explorer down there, see where that lands me, see how it fits this hole. That was actually not bad. It looked like it's a little low, but actually that's probably in the fairway with a chance for a 3. I'm gonna try also a forehand here. Still arrive, see where that lands me as well. Okay, I like that. That didn't hit anything. Should skip over to the right-hand side of the fairway, which is the more open side. Now let's try another Explorer. These are gonna be my genius discs this week. I can already feel that. If I have any question of what I'm gonna throw, it's probably gonna be the Explorer. And now you see why. That was money. It hit something down there, way down there, but a lot of times this hole is inevitable. You're gonna hit something. It's kind of like that kind of hole. All right, so this is where my Explorer landed, which is kind of like where the backhands and sidearms can land if you hit a tree or something. And so I'm gonna throw a couple of daggers. I'm gonna try to land a little bit right of the basket on these upshots, because that seems to be the most open way to enter this green here. That was not bad at all. I'm gonna try to go a little bit further right this time. That one didn't turn as much. But yeah, you can kind of see how I slowly drifted it in there because it's so downhill. If you air your disc to the basket, it's just gonna go so far past that you're not gonna really get could be able to stop it. They said my other one ramped off of these rocks and kind of went over here somewhere. Checking my disc for scuffs, making sure I didn't ruin my disc, but we should be good, it looks like. Yeah, my first dagger shot looks like it should have slid up, yeah, right up to the basket. So it's either gonna be an Explorer or a forehand ride. Basically, whichever one I'm feeling at the time is what I'm probably gonna end up throwing. But it's good to have both shots dialed, just in case that's what you need. All right, hole 12, we got a 430-foot par 3 downhill again. Not a single hole out here is flat. I think that's why we love it. There's always a challenge with the up or downhill. But go straight, and then probably about, I would say 350, it starts doglegging slightly left. And there's a big white tree that we kind of use as a reference. That's where you really want to start fading left, early left of that to track down towards the green. If you go straight at that or right, there's a lot of trees and you run the risk of hitting something and not getting a putt. So I'm gonna try a couple daggers and a couple trusts and see which one is better for me on this one. And this one's all about height. If you're already going downhill, so you can see there's a bunch of limbs in the fairway. If you just throw it without thinking about your height too much, you're gonna run into those. So you really have to focus on I like to squat down if I'm throwing a low shot, because that naturally is gonna keep me low and just feel like I'm keeping my arm under the limbs. That's something you also wanna think about. So let's throw a nice low line drive here. See, that looks good. That might be, I listen for it because there's rocks up there. If you hit the rocks, you're probably not going to be skipping up to the basket. I like that height a lot. I just want to be a little bit more penetrating forward with a little bit more speed. So let's try again. Not quite straight enough, that one. So let's try one more here. I'm gonna try a harp actually. Let's try a harp. I can throw this one a little bit harder because it's a putter and I don't have to worry about going too far. Whereas the mid-range, if I throw it too hard, it could go way past the basket. So I'm gonna throw a nice hard harp. I think it's stable. So I just put a bunch of discs in my bag, and so that's one of them. I didn't really know how it was gonna fly. So it kind of just hyzered straight out on me. Try another harp that I know a little bit better. This one's gonna go a little bit straighter. A little bit too straight. But as you can see, this hole's tricky. You gotta just, those first two mid-ranges I think is what I'm gonna be doing. Just try to get down there as far as I can. So it brings us to the putt after my mid-range shot down here. As you can see, slopes off. You don't wanna go long. So that's why a lot of people will kind of favor short left, because you don't wanna go long. If you go long left, you're pretty much down a cliff and who knows where you're just gonna go. So this is not a bad spot. I didn't park it. I didn't get aggressive as I could have been, but also I still left myself a chance. Whoops. Until you throw it too low. There we go. All right, that's better. So 2 for 3 from this spot. I definitely learned a couple how my discs fly. I threw a harp, too overstable, but I learned how it flies on this hole. But this green is tricky. As you see, there's lots of stuff that you can hit to prevent yourself from getting a putt. But it's just about the height and controlling your speed coming in. All right, hole 13, par 4. All right, hole 13, par 4, 570. Once again, not the longest par 4, but it's the angles of this hole that make it tricky. And I'm gonna be going with a couple harps. Try and dice it up, maybe with 2 harp shots. 1 to the corner and then 1 up into the mouth of the green. This tree at the very end here, the one on the right-hand side, not the lit up one, but the one just left of that. That's kind of your aiming point. You wanna go just past that, and that'll put you in a good spot for your second shot. So I'm just go with a nice smooth harp shot. Try to land just past that tree I was talking about. Too much turn maybe. Came back though. So it's actually in a good spot now. Hyzered back, put me in a good spot. I'm gonna try one more harp as well. Similar spot, a little bit too much turn. Still learning my harps. I put a couple new ones in the bag. So I'm gonna throw one more. This one's gonna be a little bit flippy, so I'm gonna have to put a little bit of hyzer on this one. But let's see where this one goes. There we go, that's good. Get around that tree. Yeah, so that's money. I just got just around that fat tree and hyzered around it and put me in a good spot. Yeah, this hole can be tricky. It looks like it's pretty, the tee shot isn't necessarily the hardest, but it's just, there's very specific landing zone you gotta land in. And if you don't hit that spot, you're just gonna have such an awkward second shot and potentially just be playing for par. So these holes are all about getting off the tee. If you're not getting off the tee, your chances for birdie are slim to none. So you gotta be on point with your tee shots. Obviously your up shots and your putting have to be on point, but the tee shots are the #1 most important thing out here at Brewster. All right, so here's my first harp shot, and this put me pretty much in the exact spot that I wanna land. Of course, if you're farther, it's better, but if you throw a driver, a lot of times it's gonna wanna hit and skip to the right, and then if you're on the right-hand side, you've got essentially no angle. So I'd rather sacrifice a little bit of distance to be in the right landing zone. So I'm gonna throw just a standstill harp just because I wanna hit this gap. And that's why I'm choosing a standstill, is because I just want to have a nice controlled shot just past this rock you can see. And then a lot of times they'll get a straight skip because it's going uphill and you hit the slope and just skip straight instead of to the right. So let's see if I can get a good ground play, good reaction here. Oh, caught the pencil tree. That was looking really good. Let me throw one more here. That's good, real good. Got a weird roll, but as you can see, I got up there, got inside the circle and got a putt at it. That first one was pretty much just exactly the exact same shot. Just clipped that one tiny pencil tree, but it was still really happy with how it came out of my hand. But yeah, harp, and then fell in, dice up this hole. As you can see, it's not super long, and so it's just about placement on the drive to give yourself a good second shot in. All right, here's our putt from that second shot here. And that's kind of like, as you can see, this green is like, there's a lot of roots and stuff, and it's kind of uphill. So when you hit here on hyzer, a lot of times they like to trickle up here and skip straight instead of to the right like they normally do. All right, hole 14, we got a new tee pad, and we got a way trickier angle. It's 355 feet, it's a par 3, and we're going up and dogleg to the right. You almost have two gaps, one to the right, one to the left. I'm gonna try a couple rollers. I just wanna see how the ground reacts. I'm not sure how it's gonna work out, but I wanna throw a couple just to see how it goes. Looks like a forehand hole when I first look at it, but like I said, I'm gonna try a couple rollers and see where that puts me. Didn't necessarily hit the gap with that one. I'm gonna try one more here. Okay, roller doesn't look like the play so far, so I almost feel like I like the right side gap, because this left side gap, that if you're trying to flex it, that tree's gonna come into play. So I'm gonna try this right gap with the forehand here. Oh, I liked it, That was a good shot. Really happy with that, hit the gap and everything. Just faded out a little bit early. Try to flex it a little bit more on this second one. Yeah, I'll try one backhand, see where that leaves me. This hole is, yeah, gotten way more challenging since we played it last year. I'm not gonna say it's a bonus birdie, but it's definitely a tough birdie. I was lucky. One more. Yeah, it's a new hole, so as you can see, I'm throwing a bunch just to kind of see what's working, what's not. Yeah, I threw a bunch of shots. I'm probably gonna go with the forehand. I would say that's probably the shot I like the best so far. Forehand up the gut to the right-hand side, flex it up, and give myself a look at it. Throw a putt from here, see how that goes. Yeah, as you can see, bonus birdie hole. This hole is tough. I didn't really even get one even close to the circle's edge, so reevaluate my game plan and come back. And then, like I said, if this is a hole that you have to get a par on, I'm fine with that. New tee pad, new angle. It's a tricky hole. All right, hole 15 is a par 3, 400 feet through a tight gap with a rock wall on the left. And if you hit early and bounce over the rock wall, it's an automatic drop zone. So players are going to be thinking about the gap, making sure you hit the gap. And basically you want to throw it at the back wall of trees, and then just fade your disc back left of those towards the end of the flight, and hopefully get up there somewhere and access the green. The biggest, toughest part about this hole is this double tree on the right-hand side. It kind of makes you throw it a little more early left than you want, but you really want to challenge that and then fade left after that tree. That's pretty much perfect. I like that a lot. So that probably got it up inside the circle. So I'm gonna try to replicate that shot with this one. A little too much turn on that one. Those are the kind of the trees that I was talking about. You want to throw at those and then fade left. Like my first one faded a little bit more. That one just went a little too straight. This one I'm going to try hopefully throw a little bit more hyzer and miss those trees. Yeah, another great shot. So 2 out of 3 was good, and I'll go up there and play from there. This is the drop zone. I'm gonna play a couple shots from the drop zone. Not that I'm planning on going to the drop zone, but it's a just in case type of scenario. If I do go to the drop zone, I'll be familiar with the shot, and it's exactly why I want to do it. Thank you. Perfect. So nice smooth hyzer, and hopefully tap in for a bogey if I were to go there in the tournament. So it looks like I got 2 of my shots also. Yeah. So my 2 of my mid ranges are inside the circle. Yeah, they just kind of trickle and skip down this hill, and give me a nice birdie putt that I can make with the mid range. So I should be able to make it with a putter. All right, hole 16, 385 par 3 downhill and to the right. It's going to be a forehand shot, and we got lots of guardian trees. So you got to pick your spot, pick your line in the trees, and know where you want to fade. And that's super important. I'm gonna be throwing 2 felons, and I'm gonna be throwing low downhill forehands. I don't want to throw it up because I'm gonna be hitting the ceiling, up top ceiling. So I'm gonna focus on throwing down. Since I'm already going downhill, I really got to focus on the height of my shot. So that looked pretty good. I want to throw this one a little bit wider because that early gap is a little bit tighter. I want to throw past that tree that I went in front of, and that gives me a little bit more of an open gap. Just like that. That's going to be great. Yep. I went a little long, but I hit the biggest gap on the hole. But as you can see, if you go right of that tree that I'm talking about, look how many trees are in the way. But if you go left of it, like I did on the second one, it kind of carries into that open space, and there's a lot less trees to hit before you enter the green. And so if I were to go right, there's just a lot more crap to hit. And so that's why I'm definitely picking this left side gap to try and make sure is the gap that I'm trying to hit. All right, so here's the one that went around all the trees went a little long, and the one that went through all the trees is parked, but I don't get caught up in results. I get caught up in the high percentage shot. And this is the high percentage shot here. So there we go, we got the bird once, we got the bird twice, and we got the bird 3 times from there. So we are good to go. But yeah, as you can see, wider gap is the way to go. Get you the high percentage birdie, have the most open air space, and that's always what I'm looking for. All right, hole 17 is a 545-foot par 4, and it's going to be a dog leg to the left. A lot of these par 4s, you notice I'll be throwing putters off the tee, and that's just because they're shorter holes with severe angles that drivers just don't make sense. You're going to be running into the trees long or putting yourself in a bad spot. So I'm going to go with the backhand harp. I just really want to follow this kind of gravel road. If I can hit that gravel road on the first shot, that makes the second shot a lot easier with a good angle into the green. So throw just a nice smooth harp shot and just throw it up there. Hopefully try to land somewhere near that road. A little too straight, but that's still not that bad. I can still get a 3 from there. Try this one. Try to hyzer this one a little bit more. There we go, that one's better. Yep, that one's good. Should be a pretty high percentage 3 from there. But yeah, the harp is kind of the good play on this one, I would say, for me. It just puts you, it doesn't, because if you go too straight, there's a big clump of trees that kind of completely blocks you out. So I don't want to throw a mid-range and bring that into play. If I throw the putter, the harp, it's short enough to where I'm going to make sure I have an angle into the basket and not cut myself off. And that's definitely what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go up to my harp shot and throw a couple up shots and dial that in. All right, now we're going to throw kind of a smooth standstill harp shot. Harp off the tee, harp second shot. Just make it consistent as we can to get the high percentage birdie. Yep, that's fine. About a 25 footer. It looks worse than it is. This one, you just don't want to go early left. There's a bunch of trees there that will completely give you no putt. So try one more. There we go, that one's better. Yep, in the chips. Yep, this one is, should be a routine birdie. Just going putter, putter, and not over complicating the hole. And hopefully every round I'm tapping in for a nice easy 3. And that should be a good way to finish this last part of the round. Definitely want to try to go birdie birdie to finish your round. It's all about closing. Closing out tournaments, closing out rounds here at the World Championships is going to be what determines a winner versus a loser. All right, hole 18, 400-foot par 3. It's a new basket placement. You got to go over the old basket placement in about 50 to 60 feet left and longer. So I'm going to throw over this bush in the middle of the fairway. A little bit of flex. I'm going to throw a fairway driver Explorer over top of that and then fade back left towards the raised basket. So I'm going to go with a couple of my Explorers here. Oh, that was looking really good. I clipped the top of that bush and kept going. That's kind of what I'm looking for, is just clip the top of that bush, go over top and skip left. That was pretty much the exact line I was looking for. There's just a couple random trees up there that it's pretty much luck, but that one's pretty much the exact same shot. And got a little bit up there, got a little better skip. And that's kind of the crapshoot of this hole. I threw 2 of the exact same shots. One hit a tree, one didn't. But we're gonna go up there and try to make a putt. Yeah, this hole's tricky because you got this bush here. It makes you have to go high, but then it brings in all these limbs up top into play. And so that's what makes it real tricky. The old pin is over there. So like I said, it's a little bit deeper and more left, bringing in a lot more trees into play than normally it would. But my second Explorer shot, it was pretty much the same shot. I just clipped this tree on the first one and the second one got through for the putt. So we'll take the long range birdie look from here. But as you can see, there's a lot of these holes out here, the changes made them a lot harder angles, a lot harder birdies, which I like for the World Championships. You want to make it more challenging. And I think that's exactly what they did. They took a couple of the easier birdie holes, made them harder, longer, tougher angles. So I can't wait to attack it, change my game plan, and make it high percentage birdies out here at the World Championships and get as many as I can and give myself a chance to win. But thank you guys for watching. Thanks DD, thanks Gatekeeper for bringing us this content. Follow me around here at Brewster Ridge. We'll see you next time.